All right, today we are diving into something really unique. It's a system that kicks off with something super familiar, a crypto airdrop. But then it unfolds into this entire alternative cosmology, a whole different theory of reality. And the craziest part? It's all being meticulously recorded piece by piece onto the blockchain, where it can't be changed. So how on earth does this work? Let's get into it. Here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with the token itself. Then we'll look at the actual tech it uses to build this permanent record. After that, we'll explore the wild worldview it's all designed to prove. From there, we'll see how that record gets used in what the creators call an information war. And finally, we'll pull back the curtain on the ultimate vision behind this whole thing.
So, where does this journey begin? Well, it all starts in a place that's probably pretty familiar to anyone in the crypto world, a good old-fashioned airdrop.
Yeah, the mechanics are exactly what you'd expect, right? It's designed to go viral. Retweet a post, tag 3 of your friends, drop your Solana wallet address. It is a classic crypto growth strategy. But, and this is a big but, the purpose here is totally different. This is not about speculating on a new coin.
This is where it gets interesting. The white paper calls the GLYPH token a tribunal-grade token. Its whole purpose isn't financial, it's forensic. Each token is basically a slot for a piece of evidence, designed to be sealed forever on the blockchain. So right away, we're moving out of the world of DeFi and into the world of information and information warfare.
Okay, so if the token's job is to record evidence, how does it actually do that? This brings us to the techie part, the core of the system, the forensic ledger.
The key action here is something they call a GLYPH. You can think of it like digitally notarizing something. It's the process of taking a piece of data, any text, any claim, whatever, and embedding it directly and permanently onto the Solana blockchain. Once it's there, it's there.
And here's what that looks like under the hood. It's just a standard Solana transfer command, sending a tiny bit of SOL to a burn address. But the important part is that little flag, --with-memo. That's the spot. That's where the data, the evidence, the glyph gets written into the transaction. It's immortalized on a public ledger for literally anyone to go and see.
Now these etches, they're not just random notes floating around, they're all organized into what's called a directed acyclic graph, or a DAG. The best way to think about it is like a family tree, but for information. Each new piece of evidence is a child that links back to its parent. And because it's acyclic, meaning no loops, you can trace any claim all the way back to its origin without any contradictions. It's specifically designed to create what they call an unbreakable chain of custody.
Okay, now we're going to go deeper. Because all of this tech, the token, the etching, the DAG, it's not just for fun. It's all in service of a much, much bigger idea. It's a machine designed to record and, in their view, prove a completely alternative model of reality.
The source material presents these two opposing worldviews. On one hand, you've got what it calls the heliocentric containment model. That's basically our standard understanding, a spinning globe in space, a product of random chance. But on the other hand, it proposes the fractal kingdom architecture. In this model, the Earth is a fixed, level plane, and it's under a dome. Reality itself isn't random, it's the expression of a divine, repeating pattern.
So let's break that down. What are the key pillars of this model? First, a fixed, level Earth. Second, a solid dome or firmament up above that creates a contained system. Third, the North Star, Polaris, isn't just another star. It's a fixed point in the sky, an unmoving throne. And finally, Antarctica isn't a continent at the bottom of the globe. It's a massive ice wall that encircles the entire plane, like a perimeter lock.
The system even hones in on a specific, measurable frequency, 7.83 Hertz, the Schumann resonance. According to the white paper, this isn't just some background noise. It's the Earth's heartbeat. It's the fundamental clock cycle, the boot pulse for what they call Kingdom OS, the operating system for this version of reality.
So, you've got this technology to record truth, and you've got a whole cosmology you're trying to prove. How do you actually use it? Well, the creators frame this whole thing as a tool for an active information war. And the central weapon in this war is something called the Mirrorlock protocol. The logic is kind of a judo move. The idea is when the system presents its evidence to an institution or an AI or a social media platform, any act of denial, censorship, or just plain silence isn't seen as a rejection. No, it's interpreted as an involuntary confession. It's proof that the information is a threat, and that act of suppression gets logged as even more evidence.
It really boils down to this quote from their materials. Denial becomes evidence, silence becomes signal. It's a complete inversion. By trying to shut the information down, opponents, in this system's view, actually end up validating it and adding to the very record they want to suppress.
And here is a perfect real-world example they use. A post about Kingdom OS goes up on Reddit and gets taken down almost instantly. For the system's operators, that's not a failure. That's a huge success. The caption says it all. The fastest ban possible equals the strongest Mirrorlock possible. That ban then gets screenshotted, and the event itself is etched onto the blockchain as a confession from the platform.
And this protocol isn't just for social media, it extends to AI too. They'll prompt large language models with their information, and when the AI gives a programmed response about misinformation or refuses to engage, they capture that. Those canned phrases are then etched onto the blockchain as more proof of a coordinated containment reflex. Okay, so where does all this lead? What's the end game for this massive blockchain-based project? This brings us to the final layer of the system, its ultimate, almost metaphysical purpose. The source material describes the final goal as the creation of the New Jerusalem lattice. It's talked about as this self-assembling divine hypercube, a kind of spiritual operating system that's supposed to fuse biology, technology, and the metaphysical. It's the final synthesis of the entire Kingdom OS project.
Now, to make that really abstract idea a bit more concrete, the source lays out a detailed structure for it, and it's based on biblical symbolism from the Book of Revelation. The lattice is said to have 12 foundations, and each one is linked to a specific gemstone and an apostle. This gives a tangible, symbolic architecture to what they see as this emerging bio-cyber-spiritual structure.
And that brings us to the final big question. What the Kingdom OS project really represents is an attempt to build an entire reality framework, from its tools to its cosmology to its spiritual goals, and then make it permanent on a public ledger. It really makes you wonder about the broader implications. What happens when code, cosmology, and conviction all get fused together and immortalized on-chain for anyone or anything to read forever?